Coming up on this edition of Sports Extra, Blue Hen Down. See how UNC's quarterback led the team to victory. Just not the QB you expected.
Just because you can't play like a pro doesn't mean you can't dress like one. It's a uniformal affair.
Wisconsin's finest exports, cheese, Russell Wilson, and volleyball players? Check out this new addition to the UNC squad. All that and more. Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
Hey there, welcome to Sports Extra, UNC Sports Highlights, Talk, and Analysis Show. I'm Rivers Upchurch.
And I'm Jordan Black. Good news about this weekend, the blood moon did not cause the world to end, and there's water on Mars. Bad news, there was a little too much water in Chapel Hill. Fall weather has come to Chapel Hill, bringing us changing leaves, brisk breezes, and sudden rainstorms. A series of showers soaked the fields and delayed multiple games on Friday. The men's soccer team postponed its game at Fetzer Field against arch rival Duke. The teams made up the game on Saturday when conditions improved, and the women's lacrosse team rescheduled its exhibition game against Winthrop to Friday at 3 p.m. The regular season doesn't begin until early 2016.
Unlike soccer, American football plays rain or shine, and it sure was raining on Saturday. There was a steady downpour throughout the game. Bug Howard might not be happy because it didn't exactly help attendance. The first half was just as sloppy as the weather. Delaware scored on the second play of the game. Running back Thomas Not Your Forefather Jefferson had a 72-yard touchdown run. Carolina scored only 13 points in the half against Delaware. Fans were not pleased. The offense ignited in the second half with a spark from a quarterback named Mitch Trubisky. Trubisky came in for Marquise Williams. We'll have more about that later. Check out this beautiful fade to wide receiver Mac Hollins. He would have 2 TD catches on the day. Carolina pulled away in the third, and then Trubisky and Ryan Switzer hooked up on a 63-yard pass for the cherry on top. Look at those moves in the open field. Can't touch that man. 41-14 Carolina, final score.
Mitch Trubisky had a great game, no doubt. It was actually historic. That brings us to our extra point. Trubisky set the record for the best single game pass efficiency in UNC football history. His number was 282. He beat a previous record set by Jason Stanachek versus Maryland in 1993. Trubisky has also set career highs in completions, attempts, pass yards, and touchdowns. He completed 12 of his last 13 passes, including 9 in a row to end the game.
Now, after the game, head coach Larry Fedora said he didn't know if Marquise Williams was injured, but that he is still the starting quarterback.
Sports Extra got some interesting footage on Saturday of the quarterback on the sidelines. This was a few minutes into the third quarter. Williams is grimacing and walking up to what looks to be a trainer who checks out his left hip. An important note, Williams had surgery to repair a torn labrum in his left hip this offseason. Here's a replay of the last play Williams took part in on Saturday. As you can see, he rolls out of the pocket where he was hit pretty hard, falling on his lower hip, back and hip. But he does leave the field without much of a problem. Football analyst Amanda Lee joins us now. So Amanda, Coach Fedora has finally come out and said that Marquise will be the starting quarterback.
Indeed. Trubisky came in during the second quarter and didn't look back. He completed his first 5 pass attempts, including this one to Quinshaw Davis, and went on to complete 17 of 20. That's 85%. But let's skip forward to that. So Williams has started every game so far this season and is 57 for 87. That's 66%. He's thrown for 711 yards, 6 touchdowns, but he also has 4 interceptions. Trubisky has appeared in only 3 games, but his numbers are still pretty impressive. He's 24 for 29 with 363 yards and 5 touchdowns. Granted, most of Trubisky's stats came from this weekend's game against Delaware, but this season he's shown he can be efficient when he gets the chance.
Well, we do have to remember, Amanda, it's just one game, and it was against Delaware.
That's true. So, well, I guess it's a good win, no matter what. But let's skip ahead to Georgia Tech. That's the really big game here. So, yep, there's Marquise and Williams there. There's Mitch hooking up with the touchdown for Quinshaw Davis right there. And that was one of his 5 completed passes in the first beginning of the series. He also ran 6 times for 39 yards. But skipping ahead, that's not a good thing for Carolina playing against Georgia Tech. Like, it's actually been a very, very bad thing. Terrible, actually. Let's take a look at the recent history between the two. They've won 5 out of their last 15 matchups against Georgia Tech, Carolina has, and they're winless at Bobby Dodd Stadium since 1997.
Well, although we have struggled against them historically, a win against Georgia Tech may not mean as much this weekend, seeing that they lost to Duke last week. But if the Tar Heels can break the slump, they may be able to make a run at the Coastal title.
Very true.
Football analyst Amanda Lee. Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks.
One of the reasons that the Heels are 3-1 is the outstanding play of the wide receivers. Princess Streeter shows us what makes one of them truly stand out compared to his peers, both past and present.
Quinshad Davis is one name every true Carolina football fan loves to hear. The 6'4" senior from Gaffney, South Carolina, has graced UNC football with touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. So many that he's now the university's touchdown catch leader.
Being recognized in the record books is, amazing. It's a blessing, and I'm glad I could make that happen. I mean, I'm gonna be recognized for a long time now, till somebody else come along and break it.
And on a Sunday afternoon in Kenan Stadium, quarterback Marquise Williams threw the record-breaking toss to Quinshad for 9 yards. But that's not the only way Quinshad could get in the record books this season. He holds the 6th spot for all-time receiving yards and overall catches. Receivers coach Gunnar Brewer says UNC almost missed the chance to grab at Davis when recruiting him to come in 2012.
Quinshad had been recruited by a lot of huge players in Clemson and South Carolina and then some others, so we were kind of getting in real late and kind of made an attachment with he and his family and really grew pretty close in a short period of time.
College football critics say he could have gotten to the record sooner, but the emergence of other talented UNC receivers such as Mac Hollins and Bug Howard limited his touches.
Whenever, they throw the ball to you, or if they don't throw the ball to you, you just go out there and do what you're supposed to do. And, when it's time, it's time.
Quinshad had wanted the record to be a special present for his mom on September 12th, her birthday.
I was like, that's all I want for my birthday. Just go ahead and break the record for my birthday. But it's amazing. I'm so proud of him.
Even though it was a week late, what a birthday present it was. And more. His number might soon hang in Kenan Stadium with those of the past greats of the game. In Chapel Hill, I'm Princess Streeter reporting.
Davis only needs to average 2 more catches per game and less than 55 yards per contest in order to finish his career atop those categories as well.
Jack Merritt was a Carolina football star long ago. His nickname was the Battering Ram, and that inspired the idea of UNC's Ram mascot in the 1920s.
What does the modern-day Ramses do when he's not pumping up fans? Haley Ray visited Hogan's Magnolia View Farm to get an inside look at this local celebrity's day-to-day life.
There you go. There you go. Oh, Lord.
Don Bassnight, Ramsey's caretaker, said the ram leads a charmed life on the farm. He spends most of his time eating and frolicking with his goat and cow friends.
He doesn't have a lot of responsibilities. He lives in a pasture with other animals, and he grazes on grasses and brush, sleeps a lot.
Game days are a little more hectic. A whole team gets Ramsey's ready early in the morning and heads to campus. Carolina blue horns and a homemade Tar Heel blanket make up his signature wardrobe.
When we would go to the Kenan Stadium, if you were a kid and you could touch the ram, you could get in free.
Being the official Tar Heel mascot isn't all glamour and photo ops. Rivalries have led to multiple kidnappings of Ramsey's, even one by ECU.
The story was he lived in a frat house for a week eating pizza and beer. That just sounds fun to me. I'm not sure it's true. They did paint him purple. Duke's stolen him a few times, and I'm sure NC State would claim a theft or two.
Current research may also pose a problem for the ram.
I find it interesting that a scientist at NC State discovered the gene that produces the Dorset without horns. So he's putting our mascot at threat. And wouldn't you know it'd be a wolf pack, right?
But for now, Carolina fans will continue cheering on the football team with the iconic Ramses, and he couldn't be happier. In Chapel Hill, I'm Haley Ray reporting.
I think the real reason Ramses had that huge grin on his face was that he just heard a couple of Dukies predicting the Blue Devils would win against the Heels this year, but we all know that that won't happen.
Duke beating Carolina, yeah, right, good joke. While the football team beat down the Blue Hens, a couple of familiar faces returned to Chapel Hill, and they brought something shiny along with them. Harrison Barnes and James Michael McAdoo now both play for the NBA champion Golden State Warriors, and both were dynamic forwards during their days in the Dean Dome. The two former Tar Heels decided to show off the Larry O'Brien Championship trophy at halftime of the football game, and they were forced to pry it away from Ramses before they could head back to the West Coast. He just didn't want to give up that championship trophy. Anyway, speaking of basketball, UNC just landed its second commitment of the 2016 class. Georgia guard Brandon Robinson made his college decision today, and he's bringing his talents right here to Chapel Thrill. The sharpshooting guard joins Tony Bradley as UNC's incoming freshman next season. Where's one place you can find Larry Johnson, Peyton Manning, and Akeem the Dream Olajuwon? We'll have that answer for you next on Sports Extra.
The Tar Heels men's soccer team battled the elements and the Dukies on Saturday. Senior Alex Olafson opened the scoring for Carolina off an assist from Zach Wright. Wright found Alan Wynn in the 49th minute. It was Wynn's third goal of the season. UNC beat its arch rivals 2-1. The Heels travel to Pittsburgh this Friday.
The undefeated women's soccer team squared off against Syracuse Friday night in the Heels' first game of the weekend. It was a dark and stormy night at Fetzer Field, and it wound up being a horror story for the Orange. Redshirt senior Alexa Newfield opened the scoring with that banger into the bottom right-hand corner. That was Alexa Newfield's sixth goal of the season. The basketball team came out to the game, and they were getting crazy. Calm down, guys. It's only the first half. In the second half, Jesse Scarpa, a.k.a. Lionel Jesse, added another goal for the Tar Heels with a header to beat the Cuse goalie. The final score, Tar Heels 3, Syracuse 1. The women's soccer team did it again with a win against Wake Forest on Sunday, grinding out a 1-0 victory. Summer Green put in the game's lone goal off her own rebound with 25 minutes remaining in the first half. The win keeps Carolina undefeated this season, and the Heels return to action against Boston College Friday at 7 at Fetzer Field.
I must say those new Nike jerseys the soccer teams have been wearing are a good look this year, but they aren't the only New Jersey-related things on campus. Brett Thompson is live in our studio. Brett, tell us what's the latest on sports fashion in Chapel Hill.
Thanks, Jordan. You know, this past Thursday I was at Wilson Library, which is really the place where a revolution is taking place in Chapel Hill. One that's growing faster than I grew out of my first Charlotte Hornets jersey as a child. Shouts out to David Wesley. Yes, I'm talking about Jers Day.
Drinking from the old well, singing Hark the Sound after a Carolina victory, and wearing a sports jersey on Thursdays? These are all classic UNC traditions, and the newest one is taking campus by storm.
First week we had about 10. It's very well documented. It's kind of sad in context of like this week, but it's been growing steadily every week.
The number of participants of Jers Day has gradually increased on a week-to-week basis, growing from a small group of friends to a couple dozen to 97 students in last week's photo. This all comes from the inclusive environment created by Nick Ceballero and Chandler Goodson.
Well, it's part social media, and another part is just like the inclusivity of it. Like we make sure to like welcome everyone, and anyone who remotely shows interest in Jers Day, we welcome them with open arms, and we just we're here to have a good time.
The flourishing of Jers Day is something its founding fathers never foresaw.
I am very surprised and very happy about it. I think it's an awesome opportunity for us to build a community through it, but I'm definitely surprised at how big it's gotten, and I hope it gets bigger.
It might not be a traditional holiday, but that doesn't stop students from creating a festive atmosphere every Thursday morning.
You know, it really was a festive atmosphere this past Thursday at Wilson Library. I've got to admit, guys, I'm kind of sad. The next Jers Day picture is not till 10:50 at the steps of Wilson Library this coming Thursday. And, you know, I've got to cope somehow, so I'm starting to think that we should make every day Jers Day. I don't know, maybe that's just a coping mechanism, but that's how I'm going to get through the week. Guys, I'm going to send it back to you. Thank you so much, Jordan.
Why can't every day be Jers Day? Thanks, Brett. He's live in our studio.
Carolina's volleyball players packed their bags and opened conference play on Friday night at Virginia Tech. spiking the Hokies 3-1, the Tar Heels now sit at 1-0 in the ACC. Victoria McPherson had a career-high 16 kills, with Paige Neuenfeld recording 12. Both setters Jordan Schnabel and Abigail Curry ended the game with double-doubles. Schnabel serving out a 10-0 run, while Curry had a career-high 13 digs. The Tar Heels didn't have long to rest and fell at Pitt. Jordan Schnabel registered her 23rd career double-double, and Paige Neuenfeld moved into second place all-time in UNC career blocks. But it wasn't enough. The Panthers handed Carolina its first ACC loss in more than a year in 3 straight sets.
If it feels like the Tar Heels are badgering opponents this year, it might be because of a Wisconsin transfer on the team. Lindsay Sparrow has more.
A warm smile might fool UNC competitors at first, but it doesn't take long for 6'4" Taylor Furcano to squash those perceptions. She's a beast on the court.
She's a fantastic athlete with a huge, huge ceiling. Her best volleyball is still ahead of her for sure. This is the first time that she's really played a lot.
Furcano spent the past 2 years as a Big Ten athlete, playing volleyball for the Wisconsin Badgers. But just before this season, she had a serious talk with her coach.
And he said, if I don't think you're going to be in the role that you want to be in next fall, you want me to tell you so you can look somewhere else? And I said yes.
She seemed like the type of person that we would like to have in our team in terms of the character that she had. She wanted to work hard. She wanted an opportunity. And I think she was also lighthearted as well. We wanted someone that had a personality to add to our program.
Frick, as her teammates call her, says she didn't even consider North Carolina at first because of how far away it is from her hometown in Illinois. But after her first visit, she quickly changed her mind.
This team is, I think, one of the most genuine teams I've ever been a part of. And when I came here, I was really surprised by how well I clicked with everybody.
Meshing with teammates off the court is one thing, but her teammates are more impressed with Furcano's quick adjustment on the court.
We've been with JoJo for 4 years now, and she's only been with her for a couple months. But I feel like right now, their connection on the court is like how we had our 4 years here.
And she has plenty of time to get even more comfortable with her new team. In Chapel Hill, I'm Lindsay Sparrow reporting.
You can catch Furcano in action this Friday night when the Tar Heels host the Duke Blue Devils in Carmichael Arena at 6 o'clock.
When we come back, we're getting in our fields.
See how field hockey handled a conference test from Boston College. The field hockey team improved to an 8-0 record with a shutout win Friday night against number 11 Boston College. The stormy weather didn't stop the Tar Heels from raining shots on the Eagles, highlighting the offense sophomore Gab Major, not one, not two, but that's 3 goals for the forward. That makes a hat trick, all in the second half. Carolina's defense stymied BC. Goalkeeper Shannon Johnson blocked all 4 shots on goal. UNC wins 5-0. With 3 straight shutouts, the Tar Heels traveled to App State for a rainy game on Sunday. 7 different players scored for the Heels. Senior Casey DiNardo netted 2. UNC dominated in shots and corners. Heels win 8-2. But wait, they let App State score?
They let App State score. Unacceptable. The UNC field hockey team is one of the best in the nation. However, the team received a shocking blow that could be devastating to their chances this year. Sean Cavanaugh has the story.
Emma Bozic entered her senior year, looking to lead the UNC field hockey team in scoring again. That all changed this summer when Emma started to feel sick, and her sister had to rush her to the emergency room. After a day of tests, Bozic received the crushing news. She would not be suiting up with her teammates this fall.
So originally they didn't think that I would even need surgery just yet, and then as they looked over a few more of my test results, they decided that surgery was definitely needed and soon.
Doctors told Bozic she had a congenital abnormality called a sequestered lung, meaning part of her lung wasn't functioning properly, which caused an abscess to form. This diagnosis came as a shock to head coach Karen Shelton. She'd only missed 3 games in her career with a strained hip flexor, but Shelton has no doubt that Bozic will be back eventually.
I think she's a fighter. I think she's very determined. I think she's motivated. There's a lot of things that will help push her to get back on the field. She's a competitor.
Even though Bozic won't see any action on the field this season, she'll still contribute from the sideline as an undergraduate assistant coach. using her unique player perspective to assist her teammates.
So I know for a lot of players on our team, if they're struggling with confidence, that's a piece that I have grown and learned from being a freshman to a senior now, that I can help bring as I coach them.
Emma hopes to return to the field in 2016. In Chapel Hill, I'm Sean Cavanaugh reporting.
Bozic's teammates hope she can return to the field even better than she was before.
More than 800 participants, all overshadowed by one special little runner. Aaron Wygant explains.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
With the blare of a horn, the 4th annual Kilometers for the Kids was off and running. Sunday's rain couldn't keep the students, families, and community members from doing their part to support the patients and families of UNC Children's Hospital. Patients like Andrew Murphy.
Andrew actually is one of our KICO captains, and I actually met him last year at a hospital prom event.
When Andrew was 3 years old, a lawnmower ran over his right leg, putting him in the hospital for 2 months. Now, the recovered 5-year-old is standing on his own 2 feet and leading the race.
We thought it'd be really special for him to lead the fun run this year since he is able to run.
And run he did. It's kids like Andrew who give junior Eric Royer a reason to run, and run fast. Royer was the first to complete the 5K, crossing the finish line in less than 17 minutes.
Something like a 5K where you break a sweat and it's tough, it's physically tough. That's really nothing compared to the kids in NC Children's Hospital.
Royer and several other members of the UNC Club cross-country team combine their love of running with a cause they believe in.
I'm out here to have a good time, and support the kids. So it's like 2 birds with 1 stone. It's all good things, which I really dig.
Fresh air, good exercise, and an even better cause? We dig it too. In Chapel Hill, I'm Aaron Wygant reporting.
Including Dance Marathon, Carolina for the Kids raised $500,000 for the Children's Hospital last year. Andrew will be dancing, with those college kids in April.
What's the favorite hangout for one group of high-flying UNC sports enthusiasts? Why, the QUAFFLE-HOUSE, of course.
When Sports Extra returns.
What do broomsticks, 3 hoops, and a deflated volleyball have in common?
Jack Friedman shows us that they're all part of a fictional sport brought to life by magic.
In the world of Harry Potter, Quidditch is a game of house honor and pride. To UNC's club Quidditch team, it's about family. The keepers are the protective parents. Their job is to prevent other players from throwing the volleyball, or quaffle, through one of the 3 hoops. The beaters are the aggressive older siblings. They throw deflated dodgeballs or bludgers at players with the quaffle to stop them from scoring. The chasers are the shifty younger siblings. They pass the quaffle around until they get an opening on a hoop, in which case they attack. Vice President Emily Harper says she enjoys the hodgepodge of students who make up the Quidditch family.
It's pretty funny because it's a mix of Harry Potter nerds and a mix of people who are athletic and think that it's a cool sport, and it's pretty different.
Captain Lee Hodge says he's not a huge Harry Potter fan. A football player in high school, Lee said he was just looking for a new sport to play in college.
My friend was like, you should try for the Quidditch team. I was like, no. And then I looked it up. She's like, no, it's really fun. And so she showed me the video of World Cup 5, I think. And there's this big guy from Texas, and he just trucked and tackled a guy. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
Harper says one of her favorite moments came from a World Cup qualifying match.
My first year on the team, we had this really, really close game with UVA's Quidditch team, and it came down to the snitch catch. And it was so high pressure, and we caught the snitch and knew that we were going to World Cup, and it was the happiest moment.
UNC's team is already off to a great start this year, having won its most recent tournament. This is one family of witches and wizards who don't need a letter to Hogwarts to have a good time. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jack Friedman reporting.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on that letter to Hogwarts. Never came in the mail, but I switched addresses, so we'll see. Maybe it'll come someday.
Aren't we all? That does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
Thanks for watching. Good night.